Hello, and welcome to the first devlog of MultiVerse. MultiVerse is planned to be a local multiplayer game in which you and your friends can explore and adventure around a small open world and complete different challenges and puzzles and things like that in which you actually have to work together. One thing that's very important here is the multiplayer part. One big thing here is that multiplayer is required. If you don't play with another person, you're not going to be able to finish everything. There are going to be certain challenges that you won't be able to complete, and generally speaking, I'm going to be shooting for making every challenge that you wouldn't be able to complete if you didn't have another person. There might be some gameplay and stuff that you can have that I might develop on the side or something that you can just, kind of mess around with if you wanted to do something by yourself. But in the end, like, for instance, I guess, like combat, just very, very much combat focused stuff. But in the end, the main goal here is to just create a local multiplayer game where you're working together with your friends, and that's it, right? You have to work together, and that's kind of a big theme of the game community. Here, let me start showing you guys some of this gameplay. So right now I got one person in, and this is the first player. We can mess around, and one thing that's really going to be driving forward that you have to have someone else is that you can only have one item at a time. One item and then one button to use that item. Um, so for instance, got the fire here. As soon as I switch over to the sword though, now I can't use that. If I grab the shield, I can only use the shield. Got the rock, which is the gun, or the item that you'll start with. That's the plan. I said gun. Kind of is a gun, I suppose. And then you have the energy meter, which is something that, basically every time you use an item, most items at least, for instance the shield, at least currently, I don't have plans to change this, the shield does not require any energy to use, but as far as multiplayer goes, I do have some of that working, and if I click on here, I can join here, and right now it works with up to 4 players. I just don't have 4 controllers with me, so I can't really show that. Not to mention it is easier to show this with just 2 people, because controlling 4 players at once is kind of difficult. Um, the basic goal here, right, the simple goal here is just to create a small game that is going to be the first full-on game that I've ever created, actually. Full game, that is. So with a story and the whole premise and everything, and also, it'll be open world, so that'll also kind of complicate things a bit, but not so much. I'm hoping to make it more concentrated, and that's a big reason why I want to make it small, because I'm one developer trying to create this, and I'm hoping to keep it pretty small as far as scope goes. Some of the UI and art isn't finished yet, at least as far as the player goes. You can see that, like, we've got those little black hearts there, but we do not have the energy, really, the final energy UI set up. Currently it's just cubes. One thing I will point out is that I do want a lot of input with art. That's one big thing that I'm hoping to really get some input from as I make these devlogs, because you might have noticed this, but I'm not too great at art. Some of this is just, testing for testing purposes, right? Like this background probably will change, and you can see that this tile set over here isn't so nice. I'm not sure I want to keep this more grass tile set over here. That might change. I definitely want to keep the grass, right? But how I put it together may very well change. But one of the big things I do want to emphasize here is um, the main goal here is to make a game that, uh, first of all, the story and the gameplay kind of revolve around community, which is partially why it's local multiplayer and why you will need another player to actually, complete the game and complete most of the challenges. But on top of that, I'm also hoping to build a community, which is a nice little, I guess, connection here, right? Um, my goal here with this game is I'm planning, though this could change. I'm not completely sure exactly what I'm going to do here, but right now what I'm looking at is making the game free. So you could just download it on itch or play it in the browser or something like that, and then donate if you want to help pitch in for, or if you want to help support me in later work, and the fact that it does take time, so it's, yeah, time is a valuable thing. And either way, though, my main goal is not really to get money. though that is always appreciated. But to develop a community, to build up a community and get people interested in some of the stuff that I'm working on. Hopefully you guys do find this interesting, this idea of a small open world in which you have to work together to accomplish different challenges. And the main thing I'm really looking at is, and this is going to be a big, uh, this is definitely going to make it difficult to develop these devlogs. Um, the story is very much wrapped around and told in the mechanics of the game and in the mechanics of different bosses and weapons and stuff, and the names of the weapons and things like that. So that's one thing I'm gonna definitely have to be careful about. Most of the devlogs will probably just be isolated in this little center area where you spawn, but we but I'm hoping that, depending on how things go later on in development, I'll be able to find some other stuff to really show you guys, so I'm not just showing you stuff that I've been testing in this little area here. In general, though, that it will make devlogs a little bit harder, and there will be a lot of stuff that I won't be able to show you guys. At least that's what I'm just sort of assuming at this point. If I can show it to you guys, I absolutely will, but I really want to be careful about that I don't like spoil some story stuff. Not to mention like different puzzle mechanics, stuff like that. So, anyways, I do hope that you enjoyed this. If you have any critiques, if you have any thoughts on this, if you're interested, if you enjoyed this, please leave a like, follow, leave a comment. Um, I really do look forward to developing this and working with the community too to make it even better. Uh, the story definitely has a lot. It's definitely a big story for me, right? Like it's story is something that I definitely won't really be changing. I might edit some stuff or make some slight changes, but in general, the story is going to stay the same because the story is about community, and that's something that's been a big part of my life. More than that is something that I have really wanted to work on more in my life and uh, in general in my life. And part of that is also just developing with this community, right? Trying to develop this community and develop this game with them rather than just isolate myself and work on it like that. Again, I do hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next devlog.